to destroy them, wipe them out completely. And Abraham says, wait, you are a just God. What if there are 100 good people in that city? Will you destroy the good with the evil? No, Abraham. If there are 100, I won't destroy the city. What if there are 20? Will you still destroy the good with the evil? No, Abraham. If there are 20, I won't. And what if there are only 10? No, Abraham, I won't destroy it if there are 10. Go down and see if you can find 10 good men. He goes down to the city, and as you know, he finds one sort of good man. And God, he takes Lot out of the city, and then God destroys it. Now, I'm asking you, you do say there are good people in Israel. You mentioned them, how difficult the struggle they're up against. Do you destroy Sodom, even though there are good people there? You should refer in your, is the preface or the introduction, the last paragraph of the preface reads, readers may not agree with all of my conclusions, but I hope they will carefully consider the facts that appear on these pages. They are, after all, the facts on the ground. I could readily see the facts. What I had trouble with is seeing the conclusion. So I don't know if I agree with your conclusions, because I don't know what your conclusions are. The last chapter, resonating with what you just said, is the Exodus. The idea, which you could infer, if you are me, you can infer that you endorse Memi's analysis of the only logical course for the colonizer that refuses, which is to leave, which is a form of, okay, the end of the country, the end of Jewish collective life in the land of Israel. And I'm asking you, is that your conclusion? Because what I come away from a book like this feeling is that Israel is not just a little bit fascist. Israel is a lot fascist. And one of the things that happens when you use the word fascist, and it's being increasingly used in Israeli discourse, is it's the ultimate delegitimizer. Nothing post-World War II can be legitimate and be fascist, can even be allowed to survive. So I'm asking you the question, what is your conclusion with respect to the implications of the extent to which Israel is fascistic as a society, and whether or not you think it must be ended entirely?
Well, speaking as God, I'm a merciful God, and I have trouble speaking as God. I think when we listen to the rhetoric of many, when we go to J Street and we go to the panels and you listen to them talk, they do speak like God, and they think that they have the influence of God, and they think that they're talking about what should be done and how it can be done, and it's very easy for them to come to these conclusions. And most Jewish Israelis have very little interest in what these people at J Street think should be done, and basically reject those solutions. And most Israelis, will pretty much completely reject whatever, not only my conclusions, but my analysis and the sort of practical conclusions I was able to come to. But I don't want to beat around the bush. Zionism as a philosophy that has animated the facts on the ground, that has established these facts on the ground, is an absolutely failed project. And when you read this book, you're going to see failure after failure after failure, and it's not just that this, this might hurt the feelings of some Zionists, but it's hurt the bodies of a lot of Palestinians, and that's really what matters. And so my concern first is to find some kind of scenario that will relieve the suffering of the indigenous people of Palestine. As for the Jewish Israelis, there are implications on what kind of future they should enjoy in my last chapter. There is something implied there, which is that these are Israelis who are attracted to Europe, who do not feel like they are part of the Arab world. And it's that attraction to Europe, that manifestation of Herzl's famous quote that the Jewish state will be a rampart of civilization against barbarism, which has led to the present crisis and the failure of Zionism, because there is absolutely no way for Jewish people in Israel-Palestine to become indigenized under the present order. And that's really what has to happen. You have to be willing to be a part of the Arab world, because you're living in the Arab world. If you don't, then you have to maintain this system and continue to harden the present system. A separation wall running along the West Bank, which Benjamin Netanyahu freely said was placed there not for security reasons, but to prevent demographic spillover. He's allocated $360 million out of the budget for social services to build a new border or a new wall or barrier along the border with Jordan. The occupied Golan Strip, the border with Syria, is completely mined and fenced off. There is a new wall at the Sinai, so you're not seeing as many of these kind of Africans lining up for food who've just come out of the desert. It's actually halted the flow of migrants, who I think could have contributed a lot to a society that wasn't an ethnocracy like Israel. And we witnessed a scene last year of 8 migrants being stopped at the wall and left to bake in the sun for 8 days. A pregnant woman was among them, and she miscarried, and activists were blocked from delivering them water. These are all visions of the future, the dystopian future inaugurated by Herzl in his desire to create a Europe in the Arab world and in the Middle East. And so there should be a choice placed to the settler colonial population. You become indigenized, which I think many Israeli Jews could be happy doing. This is a discussion among a lot of my friends, even in Tel Aviv, who've become attracted to the Arab world, who go to concerts in Amman, who go to Cairo, and among many of my Mizrahi friends whose families come from the Arab world and identify as Arabs. But if you think that you can maintain a kind of Berlin reality, you've created the recipe for the current dystopia and the environment that many describe as fascist. So this choice needs to be placed to the Israeli Jewish population, and it can only be placed to them through external pressure, the kind of pressure that the BDS movement is exerting. There's the maintenance and engineering of a non-indigenous demographic majority is non-negotiable, and that's a conclusion I will freely come to and make. And so what you see between the 2 covers of my book is the outcome of a system of demographic manipulation and settler colonialism in a very terminal phase, but without any real external pressure.
You want to open up?
Sure.